Have you ever noticed how some people disappear the moment you're no longer useful to them? Is their love really love? Or was it just convenience dressed in kindness? Stay with me, because what you think is heartbreak might just be divine redirection. Let me tell you something. Life has a way of exposing who people truly are, and often that truth is revealed not in your youth but in your later years. When your energy fades and your hands aren't as quick to give, that's when the masks fall. That's when true intentions show. When you're young, full of life, always moving, always giving, they smile at you, they praise you, they make you feel important, needed, cherished. But the moment you slow down, the moment you become the one in need rather than the one meeting needs, that's when you find out who genuinely loves you and who is just there for what you could give. There comes a moment, a turning point, when you realize you can no longer afford to surround yourself with ungrateful and entitled people. Not even if they're family, because ungrateful hearts are never full. No matter how much you sacrifice, it will never be enough. You raised them, you gave up your dreams for theirs, you gave them the best years of your life, and yet they act like none of it mattered. They enter your home without gratitude, take what they want, and leave without a second thought. They call it only when they need something. And when they do speak to you, it's rushed cold, like your presence is somehow inconvenient. My friend, don't be deceived. That's not love. Love doesn't just share your blood. Love shows up, love respects, love remembers. Some of you gave everything to your children, your spouse, your siblings, your so-called friends. You put their happiness above your own. You gave even when you had little left. You forgave even when they gave you every reason not to. And now in the quiet moments of your later years, you look around and realize the very people you gave your all for no longer have time for you. You call, and they don't pick up. You ask for help, and they act like you're a burden. When you were strong, they leaned on you. Now that you're weary, they walk away. But hear me clearly. Your worth is not based on their attention. Your value is not determined by their appreciation. Because ungrateful people, they rewrite history. They forget the nights you stayed awake worrying. They forget the days you worked double just to give them more. They forget the times you put them before yourself. They remember only what you didn't do while conveniently forgetting all the times you did. And if you're not careful, you'll spend the rest of your life trying to prove your worth to people who decided long ago to ignore it. So let me warn you, entitled, people will exhaust you. They'll take your kindness and expect more. They'll twist your love into obligation. They'll use guilt to control you even when they've given you nothing in return. You don't owe anyone your peace. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you've chosen to protect your heart in this chapter of life. If someone can't appreciate your presence, maybe it's time they experience your absence. There comes a moment sooner or later when you must stop begging people to see your worth. Because let's be honest, if they didn't value you when you were strong, what makes you think they'll suddenly respect you when you're weary? Some of you right now, you're grieving over relationships God has actually been trying to remove from your life. You're crying over people who haven't shed a single tear for you. You're losing sleep over those who barely noticed your pain. You're holding on tightly to people who let go of you a long time ago. Some family members, you feel it, have already let go of you in their hearts. You're still hoping for love, for support, for something to change, but deep down you know, emotionally they've already moved on. And it's time you woke up. It's time to stop expecting love from people who only reach out when they need something. Because this season of your life demands something deeper. It demands that you protect your peace like it's treasure. Don't waste your energy on people who can't even say thank you. Don't chase after those who are comfortable ignoring you. Love was never meant to be begged for. Respect should never have to be demanded. And hear me clearly, family is more than shared blood. It's more than DNA. Family is who shows up. It's who honors you. It's who respects you, not just in words, but in how they treat you when you have nothing left to give. Because blood might make you related, but loyalty is what makes someone family. And here's the beautiful thing. The moment you start letting go of the ungrateful and entitled, something shifts. You start to breathe easier. You begin to feel lighter. You begin to notice joy again, not in grand events, but in the quiet, simple things. You realize peace isn't about who's around you. It's about who's not weighing you down. Sometimes we cling to people thinking we need them, but what we really need is freedom. Freedom from their expectations. Freedom from the heaviness they bring into every room. Freedom from the guilt trips, the silence, the judgment. So let them go. Let go of the ones who never say thank you. Let go of the ones who make you feel like you're too much or never enough. Let go of the ones who drain your spirit and make you question your value. Because you have given enough. You've sacrificed enough. Now is the time to surround yourself with people who truly see you. Who love you for who you are, not just for what you can offer. This is the season to treat your peace like it's priceless. You don't have the strength to fight battles that were never yours in the first place. You don't have the time to entertain negativity that only poisons your soul. And yet there are still people who live for negativity. They wake up every day in search of a problem, a reason to complain, someone to blame. They carry a storm with them, and if you're not paying attention, they'll pull you right into it. Negativity is contagious. It spreads like wildfire. You could be having a perfectly good day, grateful content at peace, and then one bitter conversation, one complaint, one emotionally toxic interaction, and suddenly the joy is gone. They'll remind you of every wrong thing that's ever happened. They'll bring up the past like it's still relevant. They'll reopen old wounds and poison your present with pain that should have been buried long ago. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself carrying burdens that were never yours to carry in the first place. You see, there are people who don't actually want to heal because their pain has become their identity. They've been angry for so long that they no longer know how to function without that anger. Their bitterness has become their comfort zone, their excuse, their shield, their justification for staying stuck exactly where they are. And when they see you trying to live in peace, it bothers them. It threatens them. Because if they can't be happy, they don't want you to be happy either. So they'll try to pull you into their misery. They'll stir the pot, reopen old wounds, and create new ones just to keep you emotionally entangled in their chaos. That's why you must be careful who you give your ear to. Not everyone deserves a place in your inner circle. Not everyone who talks to you should have access to your heart. Because some people, they don't offer healing, they offer poison. They won't help you fix anything, they'll just keep reminding you of what's broken. There are people who will never show you how to move forward. They won't speak hope, or peace, or restoration. They'll just keep repeating the same stories of pain over and over again, not to heal from them, but to live in them. And listen, at this point in your life, you simply don't have the time or energy for that. You need voices that lift you up, not ones that weigh you down. You need words that breathe life into your spirit, not ones that drain the light from your soul. Because negativity is powerful. It can make you see enemies where there are none. It can twist your perception and make you suspicious of people who actually love you. It can hold you hostage to old offenses, past hurts and wounds that should have healed long ago. Negativity will rob you of your joy, your peace, your rest. It will keep you lying awake at night, replaying conversations, reliving arguments, holding on to words you should have let go of years ago. Some people have been carrying bitterness for decades. Still angry about something that happened 10, 20, 30 years ago. Still blaming others for a life they refuse to take responsibility for. They don't want to grow. They want someone to validate their frustration. They don't want healing. They want sympathy. And if you're not careful, they'll mold you into the same version of themselves, angry, tired, and stuck. You have to decide, is your peace more important than their approval? You have to be willing to walk away from conversations that do nothing but stir division. Conversations that keep old wounds open, that turn you bitter when you were created to be whole. You have to learn to guard your mind, protect your spirit from the slow drip of negativity that poisons your perspective. Because by now you should know, you can't afford to waste your energy on anger that leads nowhere. You can't keep fueling conflict that serves no purpose. And you definitely can't keep carrying bitterness that only bruises your soul. Some of you have people in your life who only call when they want to gossip, complain, revisit old drama, and you've tolerated it for so long, you don't even realize how heavy it's made you feel. You're carrying their weight, their grudges, their offenses, their pain, and you wonder why you're so tired. It's because their baggage has been sitting on your shoulders, dragging down your spirit like chains you were never meant to wear. So it's time to let it go. Let the bitterness go. Let the resentment go. Let the need to explain yourself go. You don't have to fight every battle you're invited to. You don't have to respond to every insult or accusation. You don't owe anyone an explanation, especially those who are already committed to misunderstanding you. Protect your peace. Guard your joy like it's sacred. And surround yourself with people who breathe life into you, not those who slowly drain it away. Be with people who build you up, people who pray over you, people who remind you that even in a world full of noise and chaos, there is still beauty to be found. You need voices that speak faith, that speak hope, not just anger, not just frustration, because this is your time to live free. To wake up with a heart that feels light, not heavy. To enjoy the small, sacred moments God has gifted you, not rush through them under the weight of someone else's bitterness. Don't give away another second of your joy to people who can't carry their own pain. Peace is too rare to hand over to someone who doesn't value it. And hear me, there's a certain kind of person you must be especially careful with in this season of your life. They come with a smile, but their heart is focused on what they can take. They know exactly what to say. They wear the right expressions, but their intentions far from pure. These are the manipulators, the self-serving ones who don't see you as someone to love, but as a resource to use. And here's the hard truth. They can come dressed in any role. Some are friends, some are family, some are the very people you've helped the most. The ones you thought would be the last to hurt you. But they don't hesitate. They don't blink when it comes to taking advantage of your kindness. Because manipulation, it's quiet. It's subtle. It rarely comes with shouting or obvious demands. No, the best manipulators are skilled in guilt. They'll make you feel bad for setting boundaries. They'll make you question whether saying no is selfish. They'll bring up everything you've done for them, but not with gratitude. No, they bring it up to reopen the door, to keep taking. They'll use emotion like a weapon. Sometimes it's tears. Sometimes it's outbursts. Other times it's cold, calculated silence. And they know exactly what to do to make you feel responsible. Responsible for their happiness. Responsible for their problems. Responsible for the messes they created but never planned to clean up. But let this truth settle in your heart. You are not responsible for carrying someone else's selfishness on your back. Some of you have spent years, maybe even decades, being drained by people who only reach out when they need something. They never check in to see how you're doing. They don't ask about your heart. They don't show up just to sit with you and enjoy your presence. No. The only time your phone rings is when they need money. A ride. A favor. A rescue. Another solution to a problem they created. And because your heart is kind, because you've always been the one who shows up, they expect you to say yes every time. But let me ask you something. Who's showing up for you? Who calls just to say, I love you or I appreciate you? Who checks in on you without needing anything in return? If no one comes to mind, maybe it's time to ask yourself, have I surrounded myself with givers or just takers? Because the ones who manipulate you, they're not thinking about your well-being. They're thinking about how much more they can get. They'll act like they love you. They'll pretend to care. But the moment you stop giving, the moment you stop fulfilling their needs, their true colors will come out fast. And yes, it will hurt. But at the same time, it's a gift. Because that moment of truth sets you free. It shows you who was really there for you, and who was only ever there for what they could take from you. This is the season, your season to stop pouring into people who never pour anything back into you, to stop answering the calls that leave you feeling emptier than before, to stop rushing to rescue those who wouldn't even lift a finger if the roles were reversed. Because here's the hard truth. You can't keep setting yourself on fire just to keep others warm. You can't keep giving from a heart that's already stretched thin, already tired, already worn down. And yes, when you finally start saying no, some people will get angry. When you stop being their crutch, when you stop being their constant solution, some will call you selfish. They'll accuse you of changing. They'll say you used to be so kind. But what they really mean is you used to let me take advantage of you. So let me tell you clearly. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. You are not wrong for refusing to be manipulated. You are not cruel for expecting the same kindness you've always given. The only people who get offended when you set healthy boundaries are the ones who benefited from you having none. So be cautious. Be cautious of the ones who only show up when they need something. Be mindful of those who say they love you, but only when you're useful to them. Because love isn't conditional. Family isn't a transaction. And if someone couldn't value you when you had nothing left to give, they never truly valued you at all. Now is the time to surround yourself with people who love you, not just what you can do for them. People who call just to check in. People who ask how your heart is doing even when they don't need a favor. People who make you feel appreciated, not obligated. Because you deserve that. You deserve peace. You deserve to enjoy the years ahead without being burdened by people who saw your kindness as something to exploit. Let them go. Let the ones who only take walk away. Let the ones who manipulate through guilt find someone else to control. Let the ones who were never truly for you fade into the background of your life where they belong. You're not losing them. They're losing you. And that truth may sting, but it will also set you free. Because here's what often follows when you start to rise. There will always be people who never seem happy for you. No matter what you accomplish, no matter how blessed you are, no matter how generously you try to share your joy, they always find a way to diminish it. They're the ones who can't clap for you because your success reminds them of their failures. They see your smile, and instead of being glad, they grow bitter. They're not inspired by your growth, they're threatened by it. These are the envious, the jealous, the ones who would rather watch you struggle than see you shine. And the thing about jealousy is it's sneaky. It doesn't always wear a scowl. Sometimes it hides behind fake smiles, behind polite applause that doesn't quite reach the eyes. Sometimes it sounds like a compliment followed by a jab. Must be nice. Some people just get all the luck. You've changed. Small words. But over time, they chip away at your confidence. They plant seeds of doubt in the soil of your soul. You share something good, something you're proud of, something you've worked hard for, and their response, a cold dismissive. Must be nice. Or worse, some people have all the luck. At first it feels small, maybe even harmless. You tell yourself maybe they're just having a bad day, but then it happens again, and again. And slowly you start to feel it in your gut. That ache, that realization, they don't actually want to see you win. And here's the truth about jealous people. They were never really for you. Yes, they may have stood beside you when you were struggling. They may have supported you when you had nothing, when your life was quiet, when you weren't a threat. But the moment things start turning around, the moment blessings begin to fall into your lap, their energy shifts. Suddenly they're distant. They don't call as much. They stop clapping. Or worse, they start cutting you with subtle words. They throw shade disguised as concern. They begin to discourage you subtly, intentionally, planting seeds of guilt about the very blessings God placed in your life. Some of you know exactly what I mean. You've felt it. You've lived it. You shared your joy, expecting celebration, only to be met with silence. You achieved something meaningful, something personal, something powerful. And the people you hoped would cheer for you barely noticed. And let's be honest, that hurts. It stings deeply. To discover that someone you loved, someone you trusted, someone you thought was truly in your corner, was silently rooting against you? But hear me clearly, your blessings are not up for debate. You don't have to shrink just to make someone else comfortable. You don't have to hide your joy to protect someone else's insecurity. You don't have to apologize for walking in what God has already given you. What God has for you is for you. No one's jealousy can take it away. No one's resentment can erase it. And no one's approval is required for you to be blessed. Because jealousy, it's not just a feeling. It's a force. And it will drive people to do things they never imagined. It will turn friends into strangers. It will turn family into critics. It will spark gossip, fuel lies, and twist truths, all because someone couldn't handle the fact that you were rising while they stayed still. And here's the saddest part. They could have been blessed too. They could have walked in joy right alongside you. They could have celebrated with you and been part of the overflow. But instead, they got so consumed by what God was doing in your life that they missed what He was trying to do in theirs. So what do? You take a step back. You stop expecting support from people who've already shown you they won't give it. You stop explaining your heart to people who've made up their minds to misunderstand you. And you stop seeking approval from people who quietly hope you'll fail because your success reminds them of what they never had the courage to pursue. You let them go. Because here's the truth. If someone can't celebrate with you, they were never truly for you. And don't you dare let them make you feel guilty for your growth. Some of you have been made to feel bad just for evolving. You've been told you've changed. You've been accused of acting different. But let me tell you something, and let it settle deep in your soul. Growth will always look like betrayal to those who have chosen not to grow with you. It is not your job to stay small so someone else doesn't feel insecure. It is not your duty to remain stuck in struggle just so someone else doesn't feel left behind. If they truly loved you, they'd clap when you rise. They'd celebrate the blessings, not question them. They'd cheer for your elevation, not criticize the altitude. So be cautious. Be cautious of the ones who only liked you when you were low. Be cautious of those who supported you, but only as long as you stayed beneath them. Be cautious of those who grow quiet and distant every time God does something new in your life. Because that's not love. That's not friendship. That's envy. And you don't need envy wrapped in false affection living in your inner circle. Let them watch. Let them whisper. Let them feel uncomfortable. But under no circumstances should you let them stop you. You've worked too hard. You've prayed too long. You've fought too many battles to let someone else's insecurity rob you of the joy God gave you. So keep moving forward. Keep walking in favor. Keep becoming everything God created you to be. Because here's the good news. The right people will celebrate with you. Of the wrong ones, they'll quietly disqualify themselves from your future. Now, let's talk about another kind of weight. The kind that shows up wearing a different face. These are the people who carry a storm with them wherever they go. Every time they show up, so does the chaos. There's always a crisis. Always drama. Always something broken. And it's never their fault. They always need your help, your rescue, your time, your energy. And no matter how many times you step in, no matter how much advice, money, or emotional support you offer, nothing changes. You try to encourage them. You offer solutions. You go out of your way again and again, only to find that they don't want change. They want attention. They thrive in dysfunction. They're comfortable in chaos. These are the unstable. The ones who move from one bad decision to the next, like it's a lifestyle dragging you into every new disaster. And the truth is, some of you have been playing the role of rescuer for years. Maybe even decades. You've been the one answering late-night phone calls. The one dropping everything to be there. The one handing out money you didn't really have. The one speaking truth to someone who's never really listening. And yet after all that, nothing changes. And here's the hard truth. The kind of truth that stings before it sets you free. Some people don't want solutions. They want sympathy. They don't actually want to heal. They just want an audience for their pain. They don't want freedom because their entire identity is wrapped up in the struggle. To be the victim is easier than being responsible. Because if they stay the victim, they never have to grow. They never have to change. They never have to do the hard work of accountability. And as long as you keep stepping in to save them, they'll keep pulling you down with them. They'll keep setting the fires because they know you'll keep putting them out. At some point, you have to face the truth. It is not your job to fix them. It's not your role to carry their emotional baggage. It's not your calling to keep throwing buckets of water on fires they ignite over and over again. Because while you're spending your energy trying to keep them afloat, your own peace is slipping away. You're losing sleep. You're tossing and turning over problems that don't even belong to you. You're stressed, depleted, emotionally, drained, all because of someone who has no intention of ever changing. And let's be honest, that is not your burden to bear. You can love people. You can pray for them. You can hope for their healing. But you cannot force it. You cannot drag someone out of their chaos if they've chosen to live in it. They have to want peace. They have to want change. And until they do, the most powerful thing you can do is step back and protect your peace. Step back and break the cycle of dysfunction. Step back and let them learn the lessons they refuse to hear from you. And know this, the moment you begin to pull away, they won't go quietly. They'll try to guilt you into staying. They'll say you abandoned them. They'll accuse you of being cold, of turning your back. They'll remind you of everything you've done for them, not as a thank you, but as a tool, a trap, a tactic to pull you right back into doing more. But hear me, you are not wrong for protecting yourself. You are not heartless for choosing peace over chaos. You are not selfish for refusing to stay stuck in someone else's endless drama. Some of you have spent years, maybe your whole life, putting your well-being on the altar for people who never once considered your needs. You've made their storms your storms. You've carried their stress. You've paid for their poor choices. You've absorbed their chaos, and it's been draining the joy out of your own life. But eventually, there comes a moment when you have to look in the mirror and say, enough. Enough rescuing people who don't want to be rescued. Enough carrying people who refuse to walk on their own. Enough letting someone else's dysfunction rewrite the destiny God designed for your life. There comes a time in your life when you must make a choice. Peace over chaos. Wisdom over foolishness. Freedom over dysfunction. Because peace, true peace, is absolutely priceless. There is nothing more valuable than waking up in the morning without stress crushing your chest, without chaos knocking on your front door, without the constant pressure of carrying someone else's problems on your shoulders. You deserve that kind of peace. You deserve to wake up and simply breathe, to enjoy the day ahead without feeling obligated to fix someone else's mess. You deserve to live free from being emotionally drained by people who refuse to grow, who refuse to change, who refuse to carry their own weight. And if protecting that peace means letting go, let go. If it means saying no, say it without guilt. If it requires creating distance, create it without apology. Because your peace is worth defending. Your joy is worth preserving. Your life is far too valuable to waste on people who won't take ownership of theirs. Let them go. Let them figure it out. Let them walk through the consequences of their own decisions. And you walk in peace. You move forward. You live the life God has called you to live, free, whole, and unburdened by someone else's storm. But not every burden comes through crisis. Sometimes it comes through words, quiet, cutting words that don't build you up, they tear you down. There are people who speak not to encourage, not to uplift, but to plant seeds of doubt. To make you question your own worth? To whisper things that erode your confidence and reshape the way you see yourself? These are the critics, the negative voices, the ones who act like it's their mission to remind you of your flaws, your mistakes, your past, as if that's all you'll ever be. And if you listen to them long enough, you'll start to believe it. You'll start thinking you're not enough. You'll start believing you're incapable, unworthy, undeserving of the blessings in your life. Because words carry power. The things people speak over you, if you're not careful, can shape your self-image and control your mindset. Some of you have been carrying the weight of words that were spoken in moments of anger, bitterness, even jealousy. Maybe it was a parent who told you you'd never amount to anything. Maybe it was a friend who mocked your dream. Maybe it was a family member who criticized everything you did, no matter how hard you tried. And even though the years have passed those words, they still echo. They still influence how you move, how you dream, how you see your own reflection in the mirror. But listen to me now, and hear it deep in your spirit. The only words that truly matter are the ones God has spoken over you. The only truth that defines you is who you are in His eyes. You are not a failure. You are not a mistake. And you are most certainly not defined by the opinions or assumptions of others. You are not obligated to sit in silence absorbing the negativity of people who refuse to recognize your value. You are not created to be anyone's emotional punching bag. And you do not have to shrink just to make insecure people feel comfortable. But here's the hard truth. Some of you have allowed the wrong voices to linger in your life for far too long. You've let their doubts whisper into your decisions. You've let their criticism shake your confidence. You've let their small minds define the limits of your calling, the calling that God placed on your life, not them. And now, it's time to make a shift. Time to draw a line. Time to cut those voices off. Because not everyone deserves front row access to your journey. Not everyone has earned the right to speak into your spirit. And if their words do nothing but drain your energy, discourage your dreams, and make you question who you are, then it's time to stop giving them a seat at your table. Because here's what happens when you keep entertaining the wrong voices. You start to live in fear. You start to second-guess yourself. You start hesitating to step into the very things God has called you to do, simply because someone else convinced you you're not worthy. So ask yourself, how many dreams have died because someone said that's impossible? How many callings were silenced because someone whispered, you're not good enough? How many blessings were missed because someone told you you don't deserve that? You cannot keep giving power to words that were never spoken in love. You cannot let destructive voices steer the direction of your destiny. Instead, you must intentionally surround yourself with people who lift you. People who remind you of your strength when you forget it. People who call out your greatness even in your lowest moments. People who speak faith, who breathe life, who ignite hope, who fan the flame God placed in you. Because when you're surrounded by the right voices, everything shifts. The right voices don't compete, they celebrate. They don't criticize your pace, they walk beside you. They don't drain you, they fill you. They remind you of who you are, that you are strong, that you are chosen, that you are deeply loved, and that even on your hardest days, there is greatness still living inside of you. And listen carefully. Cutting off negative voices doesn't make you bitter. It doesn't mean you're angry. It doesn't mean you're holding a grudge. It simply means you've matured enough to protect your peace. You've grown enough to respect yourself. And you've learned that guarding your heart and mind is essential, especially when your purpose is too great to risk. Some of you have been carrying harmful words for years. Words that were never yours to carry. Words that were spoken in anger, rooted in jealousy, or thrown out carelessly by someone who never understood your heart. But somehow they stuck. They lingered. And over time, they started to sound like truth. Like a broken record, they echo in your mind. You're not enough. You'll never be more than this. Who do you think you are? But today, it's time to break that cycle. It's time to release those words. To finally let go of what they said about you and all the false labels you were never meant to wear. To silence those old conversations playing on repeat in your head. Because you are not what they called you. You are not their pain. You are not their projection. You are not their fear, their failure, or their frustration. You are who God says you are. You are loved. You are chosen. You are set apart. You are more than what this world has tried to convince you of. And if walking in that truth means walking away from certain relationships, walk away. If protecting your peace requires setting healthy boundaries, set them unapologetically. If distancing yourself from people who refuse to speak life into you is what it takes, then create that space. Because your soul is too precious to be poisoned by negativity. Your calling is too great to be diminished by shallow opinions. You were not created to live small, to live stuck, or to spend your life constantly proving your worth to people who never planned to see it. You have a life to live, a purpose to pursue, a destiny to fulfill. So don't let their voices hold you back. Don't let their opinions write your story. Don't let their bitterness dim your joy or delay your breakthrough. Tune them out. Turn away. And instead, tune into the only voice that truly matters. The voice of truth. The voice of God. Because when you do, you'll discover a freedom you didn't know you were missing. Not a temporary feeling, but a deep, lasting freedom. You'll find strength not from people's applause, but from God's assurance. And you'll step forward fully confidently into the life He's been preparing for you all along. Because life is too short. Too short to keep carrying the wrong people with you. Too sacred to keep inviting chaos into your peace. Too important to keep dragging dysfunction into your next season. As you grow, as you rise, understand this. Your peace, your joy, your mental and emotional health, these are not luxuries. They are priorities. They are non-negotiable. And there is no guilt in guarding your soul. There is no shame in protecting your mind. There is no apology needed for choosing distance over destruction. Because not everyone is meant to go where God is taking you. Not everyone can walk with you into the next chapter. Some relationships must be released, so you can rise. Let go of the ones who bring confusion. Let go of the ones who manipulate your kindness. Let go of the ones who resist growth, reject peace, and recycle chaos. Surround yourself with voices of love, wisdom, and truth. Choose peace over pressure. Choose freedom over guilt. And walk boldly knowing that God's plan for your life is far greater than any opinion spoken against it. Protect your soul, guard your heart, and live boldly in the purpose He set before you. Now are you ready to step into that purpose?